Good morning. Habari ya asubuhi. Asante sana. Mr. Onesmo Orumwa, the National Coordinator of the Tanzania Human Rights Defenders Coalition. Mr. Hassan Shire, the Executive Director of the Defenders and the Chairperson, African Defenders. Representatives from the East Africa and the Horn of Africa Human Rights Defenders Network. Dr. Lillian Badi, Chairperson of the National Council for Non-Governmental Organizations. Various government officials of the United Republic of Tanzania present here. Representatives from the civil societies organizations, our panelists, moderators, and the journalists present. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and indeed a privilege for me to associate with this important event, and specifically for the opportunity to give an opening address at this occasion. Kindly allow me, on my own behalf and on behalf of the Commission for Human Rights and Good Governance, to thank the organizing committee for according the Commission and me personally this honor. I commend the Tanzania Human Rights Defenders Coalition for organizing this important workshop and for outstanding achievements recorded in the past 12 years of existence. You have all along remained consistent and persistent to your vision and mission. The fact you have been able to convene regularly in the past 12 years is in itself a testimony of the strength and vibrancy of your coalition. It is not surprising, therefore, you have increased your membership. This coalition is playing an important role in advancing human rights protection and promotion agenda in the country. And despite challenges you encounter, the impact of your work is beyond observing. You have been in the forefront in advocating for civic space and improving of working environment for human rights defenders, and in engaging with relevant government authorities whenever the need arose. I commend you for always being ahead of everyone. I see in the work of this coalition an important building block being erected, which will make it easier for your members to discharge their functions and engage with the government more effectively. In the same vein, I would like to acknowledge the contribution of defenders for strengthening the work of human rights defenders throughout the East and the Horn of Africa sub-region by reducing their vulnerability to risks of persecutions by enhancing their capacity to effectively defend human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, CHRAGG is honored by the relationship it has with the international, regional, and the national human rights organizations, including THRDC. The benefits that we have in achieving are eminent, and they include strength in knowledge and the skills in human rights education, capacity building on various spheres of human rights issues, as well as platforms for exchanging experience with our fellow African national human rights institutions and ombudsmen, and for that we are humbled. Our today's agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, this workshop agenda, claiming spaces, tactical tools for human rights defenders in Tanzania, resonates well with the realities of the day. You will agree with me that the demand for more conducive working space for civil society organizations and the human rights defenders in particular is on the rise. There is mounting public pressure on freedom of assembly and freedom of expression, to name but a few. I sincerely commend THRDC for choosing such a pertinent agenda, which addresses the perennial complaints of our people, which threaten loss of trust and confidence in our government and institutions. Certainly, one important citizens' need is to see human rights principles of good governance and human dignities are respected and observed by government and individuals. I personally believe that this desire can be attained only if the government and the various stakeholders work together and in mutual partnership. I am informed that there will be discussions on tactical tools to claim human rights defenders space to work, advocacy strategies and resources mobilization, and CSO's sustainability in Tanzania, among others. My humble appeal as regards tactical tools and advocacy strategies is that let's focus on those which are practical and relevant to socio-economic and the political environment of our country. In that way, I believe we will be able to progressively achieve better and sustainable results. Ladies and gentlemen, human rights defenders play an important role in the promotion and protection of human rights at different levels, including by collecting and disseminating information, calling attention to violations of states of their obligation to promote and respect human rights, and by highlighting abuses of human rights by other actors. As a whole, the work of human rights defenders bring many benefits to communities, from helping to make government more accountable and fighting impunity, to protecting vulnerable communities from harm and providing assistance to victims, to enhancing respect for rights related to economic participation. Nonetheless, in many countries in the world, including Tanzania, human rights defenders have become victims of violence, harassment, and human rights abuses and violations, including forced disappearance, arbitrary arrest or detention, unlawful imprisonment, torture, sexual violence, and unfair trials. Similarly, in both democratic and non-democratic states, many governments seek to stifle civil society and jeopardize the work of human rights defenders, both online and offline, including by enacting new legislations and regulations that limit the full enjoyment of fundamental rights and freedoms, imposing restrictions on civil society or media organizations and such, by taking away their legal status and criminalizing peaceful social protests and using harsh tactics and intimidation and unlawful arbitrary surveillance and threats and reprisals. In spite of challenges on the other aspects of human rights, specifically civil and political rights, the Tanzania government has been doing fairly well in the progressive realization of the economic and social rights. On the other hand, the Commission has noted states' commitments towards improving freedom of expression, association, and assembly. Earlier this year, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties engaged the Commission, the national authorities, and the CSOs to recommend on 8 pieces of legislations and regulations under which freedom of association, freedom of expression, as well as freedom of assembly are confined. That initiative was followed by an invitation to key election stakeholders, including political parties and the police force, to a panel discussion concerning the overall political situation in the country. In addition, the Minister for Information and Communication Technology invited media stakeholders to discuss the way the media and the government can work amicably and cooperatively. The Commission views these initiatives as a constructive way towards resolving the current challenges that restrict the full enjoyment of freedom of expression, assembly, and association. To a great extent, Tanzania legal framework provides means for effective interventions in the protection and promotion of rights of human rights defenders and special groups, and the Commission is confident to say that the current statistics are much more in favor of such effectiveness. The Commission wishes to take this opportunity to acknowledge and recommend the role that the state has been playing towards the implementation of the Marrakesh Declaration of 2018, and although the declaration sets out commitments to be undertaken by the National Human Rights Institution on promoting, protecting the rights of human rights defenders, the state has been working hand in hand with the CHRAGG, the National Human Rights Institution, in introducing and implementing the declaration. CHRAGG, in collaboration with the state, has hosted twice a capacity building training for staff and technical experts, as well as for senior officials of the Tanzanian government authorities, with a human rights mandate on fostering and deepening the implementation of the Marrakesh Declaration. The result of this initiative was the development of the one-year action plan, which contains activities that can be undertaken in that period to enhance the protection of human rights defenders in Tanzania. The action plan also identifies actors that will undertake specific activities and a timeline which these activities ought to be completed in order to achieve the overall objectives of the Marrakesh Declaration. Ladies and gentlemen, to improve an enabling environment for CSO to function without facing intimidation, violence, or government interference, and provide protection to human rights defenders in Tanzania, I wish to recommend the following to various actors. The state, it should speed up the amendment of process on the laws that have been continuously complained against, including the criminal justice system, and such laws include Cybercrimes Act, the online content regulations, and the police general orders, to mention but a few. Also, the state should ensure that the law enforcers who violate human rights are being held accountable. And the state should strengthen the national human rights mechanism to ensure better protection for human rights defenders. My recommendation to human rights defenders, CSOs, and other stakeholders: they should join hands to capacitate human rights defenders on human rights laws and principles of good governance, and to apply a right-based approach in their work. Also, they should regularly conduct capacity building and trainings to human rights defenders, since their work for protecting and promoting human rights is a specialized profession which requires adequate preparation, specific technical skills, and significant substantive knowledge in order to be effectively conducted, as a good number of human rights defenders still lack adequate capacity to monitor, document, and report human rights violations. Although they should comply with national, regional, and international standards during the implementation of their daily work to avoid conflicts with the government authorities. Also, they should work for a better future and share common goals of justice, equality, and human dignity as their major tasks to promote awareness of rights, assist communities in articulating concerns, shape strategies, influence policy and laws, and press for accountability. And they should also collect and channel their views of community so that they can be fully informed of decision-making on public policies. Lastly, human rights defenders, political parties, media, and the state and the police force should opt to dialogue, means as a way to resolve concern regarding rights to freedom of association, assembly, and expression. CHRAGG's commitment. CHRAGG, as the National Human Rights Institution, wishes to reiterate its commitment to work in collaboration with all stakeholders in the promotion, protection, and preservation of human rights and principles of good governance in the country, particularly in coordinating awareness programs and implementation of the Marrakesh Declaration and advocating the conducive working environment for CSOs and human rights defenders, which include advocating for law and policy change and mitigating controversies between the state and human rights defenders. Ladies and gentlemen, I have mentioned above how honored and at the same time humbled our commission is for being a custodian of human rights and good governance in the country, and the prominent benefits that we acquire from human rights defenders. The Commission will make these benefits with our stated legal functions and continue to tirelessly support the United Republic of Tanzania, serve its people in a way that respect, protect, and promote human rights and the principles of good governance sufficiently. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, this workshop offers a unique opportunity to learn from each other's experience and best practices. I find it important that you find ways and the means of forging closer collaboration amongst yourself and with other stakeholders, government in particular. And such collaborations will go a long way towards widening working spaces as we work towards improving protection of human rights in Tanzania. I dream to see your coalition rise to the occasion and take our country to a great heights. I encourage you to keep up the good work. I cordially wish you a good and future workshop, fruitful workshop, and all the best in your preparation to celebrate the International Human Rights Day as well as International Human Rights Defenders Day. With these many words, I declare this workshop officially open. Thank you.